If it could be saved, they call it the hill country. I call it home. But what will we call it when it's level and paved?
As we continue with our working lunch, I wanted to introduce our next speaker. Our next speaker is Ginny Funk, and Ginny is with the Alzheimer's Association and has actually been there for about 15 years. She's been working in long-term care and with seniors for many years, but came to the Alzheimer's Association in 2001. And she currently serves as the Director of Programs and Advocacy for the San Antonio and South Texas chapter of the Alzheimer's Association. So let's welcome Ginny Funk.
Shawn, very much. Okay. Enjoy your lunch. Please go ahead. And while you do, I'm just going to throw out some new science, some additional research studies that pretty much everyone wants to know about, and that is, well, what are the things that we can do to lower our risk for later developing Alzheimer's disease. So I also want to say, I just thought the previous presenters were fantastic. We've only been through half the day, and I just feel like I've gained so much information, just excellent, excellent speakers. I love, love, love the quote that was last up from Maya Angelou, and I had the privilege one time in my life of meeting her in person, and that quote is exactly right. I have no idea what she said to me, but she made me feel like, in that moment, the most important person in the world. So I love that quote, and I very much agree. We all have the capacity to make someone feel like that, particularly if they do have Alzheimer's or a related dementia and really are lost a lot of the time. So I also want to give a huge, huge thank you from the Alzheimer's Association to every single vendor that's here today, and to all of you. I sincerely hope that you will take the time and stop by every single table and meet these people. I wholeheartly believe you would not be in this field if you didn't have sincere compassion about the services that you provide and the people that you take care of, or whatever your services are. I wholeheartedly hope that you will meet them. I know it's very easy to say, nah, we'll never need it, but I heard earlier, and I think the first presentation, or the second one, never say never. It's just so amazing, all the resources that are available in this room. And I promise you all, for us, it's not all about the fact that they are monetary donors to the Alzheimer's Association. It's the services that they provide to all of us that really can make a huge difference in your life. So, sincere thanks to all of you, and I do hope you get to visit all of them. So, please make sure you do that. Okay, so along the way, the Alzheimer's Association, up at our national office, we do have a large medical and scientific board of, I don't even know what their long titles are, but they are heavily, heavily involved in research studies. The Alzheimer's Association is the largest contributor financially to Alzheimer's research studies, other than our federal government. So our mission wholeheartedly includes finding a cure, finding treatments, and very much finding a prevention. Because for those of us who don't currently have any dementia, that's by far probably the most commonly asked question that we get. Well, what can we do to prevent? Or, well, if it's in my family, does that mean ... So there's a lot of research in the field of, okay, what do we know? There are things that we've kind of always assumed, like what's good for your heart is good for your brain, but now we're able to really show through a lot of studies that have been done that absolutely our hearts are incredibly linked to our brains. So it is really important to pay attention to a lot of the things that you do in your life that can have a big impact on your brain. And wholeheartedly, I think one of the strongest messages is it doesn't matter if you're 21 or you're 81. there's no time like the present to just start doing a couple of things. They have done research that these things can really make a difference no matter what your age is in that numerical age. So just a couple of things. There's been research done in 4 of the kind of main areas. And yes, we get to kind of roll our eyes. We know how important physical exercise is. Whoa. That was someone from above telling me I haven't physically exercised right because I am a current caregiver. So I totally very much understand there are only so many hours in the day. But cognitively, it's by far considered about the most important thing that you can do for your brain. So we'll talk about physical health and exercise, a little bit about diet and nutrition, cognitive activity, we get asked that a lot, and then social engagement. So I also want you to know I'm this is a shortened version of this class. We do these classes out in the community by request. These are also all available on our website, alz.org, free anytime. So if you don't have time to come out to a community presentation, no matter what time, you can always get into these classes online for free. So what we absolutely do know is that there are things that we have control of and things that we don't have control of. The 2 things that we do not have control of are, number 1, the highest risk factor for getting Alzheimer's disease is age, which means every single person is at risk, which I really do think our tagline soon will be, who's at risk for getting Alzheimer's? Anybody with a brain. Now, if that doesn't make people sit up and pay attention to all of us, it really should. Because age is the number 1 risk factor, and whether you like it or not, we're all aging. That's happening. So we are at risk for that. The other thing we have no control over are, yes, our genes. And there's a lot of studies that have been done and will continue to be done on, in families, why do some family members get Alzheimer's and some absolutely not? And I think this was already covered this morning, and I really don't want to go too much into Alzheimer's because I want to talk about healthy brain things. We do know that there are genetic type things involved with Alzheimer's disease, but true familial Alzheimer's is actually really, really rare. So what that means is if you have it in your family, that doesn't automatically mean that you are going to get it or your next generation is going to get it. Again, age and then some of the other things I'm going to point out as risk factors increase more so than your genetics. Also, so those 2 things. But things that we do have control over, things like our environment, things like our lifestyle, those are the things that really we do have control over, so we want to learn more about those. So yes, we know that every time you have a heartbeat, 20% of blood goes to your brain. And so there's such a link between what's happening with your heart and what then happens with your brain and how healthy your brain is. They're so interrelated. We've already gone through this, but just a couple of things. Although age is the number 1 risk factor, we continue to just try to repeat over and over and over. Alzheimer's disease is not a normal part of aging. You don't just get old and get Alzheimer's disease. We know that. We know it's a brain disease and all the other and related dementias. I think all of these have really been already talked about this morning, but known risk factors also include head injury. We see that a lot. There's a lot more studies being done on military and athletes who have repeat head injuries, who therefore also have an increased prevalence of later developing Alzheimer's. Cardiovascular factors, and then I'm just going to talk a little bit later about education and what they've shown, what that link is. Another thing, when we talk about Alzheimer's, it is the 6th leading cause of death. And on that top 10 list of killers, it's the only one that does not have a way to either cure it, prevent it, or slow it down. That also makes it increasingly urgent that we find treatments and a prevention and a cure. We know that there are treatments per se for symptoms, and those are medications. We've heard of many great ideas this morning from these great presenters on. There are actually things that you could do to treat someone with Alzheimer's, just knowing that the disease will continue to progress. But there are a lot of helpful things that we're all learning about today on how to apply them to daily life. So taking care of your brain as it ages. So first of all, going over health and exercise, we do know there are more and more studies about the importance of cardiovascular activity. That does not mean going out and running a marathon. They look at right now, if you even start with 15 to 20 minutes 3 times a week, that is very good for your heart and therefore very good for your brain. They also do say that rigorous exercise leads to increased blood flow, which is a very good thing. But it's hard. I mean, who honestly can say that they're involved in vigorous exercise? Some of you who are, my hat's off to you. That's awesome. That is fantastic for your brain. But it can be kind of difficult. What we do know also from research is that there's still no one single recipe. So there's nothing as of yet that says if you do this for this amount of time, you are going to prevent yourself from getting Alzheimer's. We really can't use the P word. But again, all these things are about lowering risk. I'm going to actually just skip past Woodley. What he's talking about is that he just started incorporating 5 minutes a day, doing something other than sitting still, and how much better it's made him feel. And absolutely that we know, if you like to do something, there's so much more likelihood that you're going to continue to do it. So when we talk about physical exercise right off the bat, if it's something you know you can't stand, you're going to do it about once and that's going to be the end of it. So figure out what you enjoy doing, and even if you start out small, again, 5 minutes a day, safely, move safely. This is where we kind of talk about brain safety as far as wearing helmets. That is something we have control over. If you're riding a bike, motorcycle, whatever, wear a helmet to do as much as possible to protect your brain. Get your heart rate up, again, heart-brain connection. Asking friends to join you, well now, in that category, we get to check off 2 things. You're doing physical exercise and social interaction. So you're already up. You covered 2 out of 4. And of course, we have to say check with your doctor before you start any kind of exercise routine. That's super important. Okay, studies on smoking and what smoking does to increase heart, stroke. There's so many things, and so therefore they've also been able to link that there are benefits to lowering brain disease by stopping smoking, avoiding excess alcohol. I love this. I just have to read this out of our thing. It says, everyone wants to know. Everyone knows that a glass or 2 of red wine is commonly thought to have health benefits, and it is. However, you should not start drinking if you don't already do so. I love that. I just think that's yes, absolutely. If you're not already there, then don't start. But there are some benefits to drinking a glass of red wine. Avoiding head injury. Again, lots of studies now being done on traumatic brain injury, reoccurring concussions, that kind of thing. Managing stress. It is true that caregivers' health can decline, and often does. Their physical health declines faster than the individual in their life with Alzheimer's disease because of the stress. So we have this class called Caregiver Stress. I have to tell you, it's the least attended class that we get. Well, for one thing, who takes care of a family member and identifies themselves as a caregiver per se? Most people don't. And who also kind of shrugs off stress? Well, we're all stressed, right? But when you start looking at the 10 things that stress is doing to you and your cognitive health and your physical health, we have caregivers who absolutely have heart attacks, who have strokes, who die before their loved ones. So stress is something to not just kind of shrug off. It's very, very serious. Treating depression. I feel like the association, we have counseling and we're available 24/7. But when someone has depression from this disease, we absolutely encourage seeking medical treatment, talking with people about how difficult this is, and really getting some further help with it. It's very, very serious. And then, of course, visiting your doctor regularly. Who is in the situation where you get so much tunnel vision on taking care of your loved one that you missed your last doctor's appointment, you missed your last dentist appointment? There's so many things. So another part of this is making sure that you also prioritize your health and your brain. So what we can do, we definitely know it's important to monitor numbers, to pay attention to blood pressure, to pay attention to our sugar levels, weight, cholesterol, all of those things. They are looking at obesity and what that link is between that and later developing Alzheimer's disease and the higher prevalence. Cholesterol is kind of the studies kind of go back and forth on really the link on that one. Let me just go back. I do want to say that we know that Hispanics are 1.5 times more, have a 1.5 times more prevalency of getting Alzheimer's disease, and for African Americans, it's 2 times the amount as Caucasians to get Alzheimer's disease. And a lot of that does absolutely have to do with other types of diseases that they're at a higher rate of developing. Okay, so diet, nutrition, wholeheartedly, this one's an area of interest for everyone because we eat every day and we really want to know. What we do know is what's good for your heart is good for your brain. And there's a lot, we always get updates on it. This is heart healthy, or they put heart healthy on foods. We're getting to the point where I hope they will be able to really scientifically, we'll be able to add the little heart symbol and the little brain symbol. That it's good for your heart, it's also beneficial to your brain. Nutritious food, I love that picture that shows you are what you eat. Think about, there's a picture of a human being and it's got everything that sort of went in. Think about the bad things that we do, what that effect it has on your body and therefore on your brain. There are some dietary guidelines that can reduce your risk of heart disease, cancer, Parkinson's, Alzheimer's, stroke, and diabetes. That's really important. Morris. So, yes, looking at leafy green vegetables, those are good for your heart, good for your brain. Fruits, nuts, berries, lean meats, fish, poultry, vegetable oils. There's a lot more information on this. That's the other thing. I'm in a short time frame here, but if you want more information, you can get it right off of our website, where I brought workbooks on this class and can give you a lot more. Things to avoid. This very much looks like a heart-healthy type of scale, which again, it's all applied to studies that have been done that processed foods, deep fried foods, unhealthy fast foods, those are not healthy, heart-healthy types of things. And do have, again, that impact of blood and oxygen going to the brain. One thing, we know that there are dietary supplements. I'm going to get to this a little bit in a minute or two, but it really is important that if you hear something about a dietary supplement, for example, I will use coconut oil, coconut milk. It's really important to get the true facts about how many people were in those studies. What were they really able to find out? That yes, it can be beneficial, but it should never be listed as a prevention, because right now it's not a prevention for Alzheimer's We know that that a lack of B12 can cause dementia symptoms. I don't know if you all remember when vitamin E was determined to be the sort of savior, and it went out in the media and everything was great, except that people started taking too much of it and having adverse side effects. So again, it's really important, and I can't wholeheartedly more tell you. If you have a question about any of this, call the Alzheimer's Association. We may not be able to answer it, but we'll send you right up to our national office and they'll be able to give you very specific, accurate information. Okay, cognitive activity. What we do know, it is very good for your brain to keep up the cognitive sort of exercises that you do. So this automatically leads into questions that we get about crossword puzzles, that kind of thing. So what we know about cognitive activity is that it has to be stimulating and it has to be difficult. If you're doing something in a cognitive way, like puzzles and games, but it's really not that challenging, it's actually not helping form new connections and basically new brain cells. It has to be challenging, it has to be difficult. It has to be something different than what you're already doing. So I love this example. This might have even come from you, Dr. Lozano, that one thing you can do that would sort of trick your brain is if you brush your hair with your right hand, brush it with your left. That automatically is firing different things in your brain that you're using the other hand. Again, don't walk away with that or prevent Alzheimer's, but anything that you can do like that that is stimulating and different for your brain is good help for your brain. Engaging in formal education. There's been studies that can, and formal education as, however they describe it, actually going to classes, going and getting instruction from experts, etc. That can be really good for your brain and can help protect against dementia-like symptoms. So, if you love to read, again, if you love to do games, do the ones that challenge you. Do the ones that are difficult. Do something different. Pick up a skill or something that maybe you've always wanted to do to, again, get those brain cells firing. We know that Alzheimer's disease does its horrible business of damaging and destroying brain cells. So it's almost like the more that you can do to kind of build up that strong reserve is good for your brain. Learning a new skill and engage in ongoing learning. Again, we have a board member who, I don't know about sharing her age, but I can just tell you she's a senior and she just completed her PhD. Wow, she is amazing. She's just amazing to think about going back. Man, I just think, what did that do for her brain? It's awesome. It's just so awesome. Okay, social engagement. So this is the area that has the least amount of research, but there was a very large study done on individuals who are isolated, and they did have a higher percentage of people who ended up having Alzheimer's disease. Think about when you are isolated, you're also in a situation where that can have an effect on all other three quadrants in here. That you're probably not eating at your best. You're probably not making the best decisions. It's just isolation is one of those things that is not healthy. And we know there are a lot of people out there prior to any development of Alzheimer's disease who are alone. And anything that we can possibly do to get engaged, to again, get into any type of social activity, groups, church, you name it, it's good for your brain. Staying engaged in the community, visiting with family and friends, that, again, those are good connections for your brain. Staying engaged, volunteering. We hear from a lot of individuals who, particularly maybe after they have been on this journey and they've lost their loved one, that now they are themselves in some isolation, and getting out and volunteering for anything can make you feel so much better and help. joining a group or a club. So putting all of these together is by far the best thing that you can do. So if you can figure out some way to get into some physical exercising where you're getting your heart rate up, and at the same time you're eating some sort of healthy type of food, and you're doing something challenging for sure, keeping your mind active, and doing it with other people, those have the best benefits that there can be. And I just want to, I do want to talk about diet-wise, the Mediterranean diet. That is in fact an area where there are individuals that they have done studies who are in that area of the world who end up having lower rates of dementia and Alzheimer's disease from the types of foods and different things that are involved in the Mediterranean diet. So that's a good one to add onto your list. I don't know if you'll be able to hear Dr. Thies, so I'm just going to kind of read really quickly. So Dr. Thies for years has really been at the top of the Alzheimer's Association Medical and Scientific Board. He has his hands on all kinds of research. And basically, he's talking about how a recent study in Scandinavia tells us that when we do all 4 of those things in combination, again, starting today, that it's never too late to start, that fewer participants in that study experienced cognitive decline. And that scientists are now moving towards saying that these interventions do make a difference, and with more evidence, we know that we can say that they probably do, rather than saying that, well, they may. It's getting so much better in even the language that we're using. Again, we can't use the P word, there is no prevention, but because of all these studies, we do know that they may strongly lower your risk for developing Alzheimer's disease later in life. So great quote from him. We're out of time. Sorry. I'll wrap up really quick. So what you can do now, again, start today, do something small, do what you enjoy, get support from others, having fun, that's kind of a bonus to all of this for sure. Here we go. So being a savvy consumer, without a doubt, there are 77 million baby boomers, and every year they are turning 65. So although we may feel like there's great resources in this field, we know we need a lot more. I know we're going to get to the point where who doesn't know what pink represents? We're going to get to the point where everyone knows that purple represents Alzheimer's disease, because there will be so many types of businesses and different things that will get on this bandwagon. We see it on the web. There are all kinds of things that say they have the cure for Alzheimer's disease, or they say all kinds of things. We do highly want you to know that, and I get it. It's because we want hope. Everybody wants hope. Everybody in this room wants that time when we will absolutely have a breakthrough and a cure for this disease. We all want it. So when something like that hits the media, absolutely we want to grab onto it. I just wholeheartedly, we want you to know through the Alzheimer's Association that you can always call and find out, well, on that study you find out they studied 20 people as compared to 20,000 in another study. So it's really important to check the facts of things, make sure that it's vetted, and wholeheartedly, I guarantee you the Alzheimer's Association will be the organization that will shout it out from the rooftops when we do have that major breakthrough, absolutely. But until then, if you see things, don't just automatically believe it. Check things out and ask your doctor, ask your pharmacist, or call the association. Just a couple more things. We do have a lot of resources that you may not be aware of through the association. So we've got programs online that can help set up an individual care plan for you. We have connections, particularly for people who are younger than 65, who have younger onset. We have groups that they can really find out they're not the only ones and link together with others. and just that there are a lot of resources. The AAA is here today. If you have not ever reached out and utilized any of their services, they are an excellent, excellent resource. Lots of resources available. And then I have to put a plug in for Paws for Hearts because I realize the topics today, they're pretty heavy. If we didn't have to be here, we would not be at this type of conference, right? We just wouldn't, and we're gonna get to that point. But if you need a little stress reliever today, I can't even tell you what it's been like to be back there with all those dogs and their owners with Paws for Hearts. Talk about lowering your stress level. That dogs rule. That's what I want to say. Go back there, a little bit of petting in with those dogs, and just take advantage of what they have, because oh my gosh, they're fantastic for us and for our loved ones. So I think that's it. That was the best.
Thank you, Ginny. And that is a perfect segue because we have the Paws for Hearts folks here. If y'all make your way. Did anybody have their cookies? These cookies were actually a gift from our Sodalis Dripping Springs community, and Chef Robin was our chef there. So these are her everything cookies. So I hope that you enjoy those. If you did get some, I think there's some still left over at the table. And now I'd like to introduce to you Sheri Haynes with Paws for Hearts and the rest of the folks that many of you have already gone by their booth. And as Ginny said, are such a great addition to the symposium. So I want them to be able to tell you more about Paws for Hearts. Let's welcome Sheri.
Hi everybody, I'm Sheri Haynes. I'm at one of almost 50 of our therapy dogs. And I actually didn't know I was going to be talking until I got here. So what I'm going to do, Karen, our president and trainer, she was prepared. I wasn't. So I'm going to let you have Karen Minson.
All right, hello, how's everybody doing? Everybody awake after eating? I don't think so. Everybody wave at me. Let me make sure we're live. All right, there you go, guys. All right, my name is Karen Minson, and I am honored and have the pleasure of being the president and the dog trainer in people torture for Paws for Hearts working with therapy dogs. Ask these guys, they'll tell you I torture them, all right? We are a 501c3. We are a highly trained, elite working therapy dog group. And we go into all different types of facilities. And I'm going to go through some of them. First, I want to introduce a couple of my teams I have here. At the end, I have Stephanie with Daly. And she is a rescue dog. And she's with Golden.
She was rescued from Golden Retriever Rescue in
El Paso. So she came a long way to come up here and help people. Next, I have Kathy with Aaron. She's my vice president. And then I have Jack with Eileen. And then, of course, I've got Miss Sheri with Taz, also called Resident Taz. So you guys have probably seen some of these guys out and about. So what our dogs do, we offer physical and emotional support. We go to a numerous amount of facilities. Where'd you run off to? Get back up here. Chicken. What's a chicken? Okay, everybody help me. What's a chicken? You won't believe me, thanks. Okay, I'm a big girl, I can do this. All right, we offer, and we go to places all the way in San Antonio, New Braunfels, Bernie, San Marcos, we even go down south, San Antonio. We're a little bit anywhere and everywhere. And one of the questions I always get asked is how much do we charge to go into these facilities and help people? The answer, zero. We do not charge anybody to go out and offer physical and emotional support with our dogs. We are totally a volunteer group, chicken volunteer group, and we go out and we help people because we love giving back to society. We love giving back to helping people. That is what we do, all right? All right, some of the places that you'll find us out. You can find us at memory care facilities. You can find us at long-term nursing homes, rehab facilities, military institute, assisted living, libraries and public schools. I will tell you guys, if you're interested in knowing any more about us, if you go back to our booth, you will see our brochures on the inside of the brochures. Anybody here have one of our brochures? Look in the middle part of it. That is just a partial list of all the different facilities that we go to. We're increasing and we're going different places every day. Okay? Now I will tell you, you will find a lot of people that will all of a sudden come in and they'll have a dog and they'll have a vest on and they'll say that they are a therapy dog. You can go online and you can order a vest. These guys are no more a therapy dog than I am, I don't know, the leader of a bunch of chickens, I guess. So, guys, make sure that if you're into a facility and you want to have therapy dogs come in, make sure that they are certified working therapy dogs. Make sure that they've gone through training. Make sure they can show you the certification. Our guys go through 12 weeks of intense training. The first time through, they go through a behavioral certification where we evaluate the dogs. We want to make sure that emotionally the dogs are bomb-proof and that they are secure, that they want to go out and they want to meet people, that they're not scared of their own shadow. We also put them through then obedience training. And they go through regular obedience training that is also modified for therapy work. And then what we do is we test them, we get them certified to the American Kennel Club. Anybody familiar with that? Big dog group. Get their canine good citizen. Then they go through 4 weeks of on-hand mock scenarios. And what that is that we go through all of our years' experience. We go up and we show people how to go up and talk to other people, children, soldiers. And we know what the HIPAA rules are. We know what we can and cannot say and do. We're also very aware of a person's mental or physical disability. And the one thing that's great about our dogs, they don't care what anybody's problem is. They show nothing but unconditional love. They do not grade. They do not care. All they want to do is go up and make a person happy. I will tell you, there's not anybody that came by and saw one of our dogs that walked away not happy or not smiling. If you think you can do it, come by, I challenge you. All right? Our dogs are going to make you happy. That is one of the things that our dogs do. They already show and proven that they lower blood pressure. If you're a heart patient, you got a ticker that's 29 miles an hour, come over and see one of our dogs. You're going to leave out nice and cool, and you're going to have a slower heartbeat. Okay? We also educate our teams. We want to make sure that they know the proper procedures in the facilities that they go. Anytime they go through and they graduate, you get back up. Diane, back up. Excuse me for a second.
Get back.
All right. I am not one that likes to have my picture taken and she's taking advantage of it. So, but the other thing that we do, guys, is when our teams graduate, before they go into a facility, we set them up with a senior team member. And they go into that facility and they are mentored at least twice before they can go on their own. The other thing we do is every year, all of our teams get recertified and they get retested. Even though in our heart, we want to go out and help people, eventually our dogs go, we've had enough, we're tired. And we have to retire them. I will tell you, the Sodalis in the group, that is only already on our second and third generation of therapy dogs to go out and help people. That's how much we love doing this. So before you have a person come in and say, oh yeah, I've got a vest, I've got a therapy dog, ask for their certification. Make sure it's through a local group or a national group, not through something that's online. Make sure they've got the American Kennel Club Canine Good Citizen. And make sure that they can show you the paperwork of liability insurance. That's what a majority of them cannot show you. Because if you don't, you're just going to get people in there with dogs that are untrained. They're going to cause you liability. They're going to be jumping up. They're going to be scratching. They don't know the proper protocol. We work really hard to get good dogs in to help people. Okay? You're so attentive. I love it. I would like to ask, is there anybody who's got any questions on therapy dogs? Yes, ma'am?
Do you know of any organization that's on the south
I'm sorry,
side,
ma'am?
like the rural counties, below San Antonio? Do you know?
Right. I cannot hear you up here, I'm sorry.
Do you know of any organizations
You want to come up and use my
similar?
microphone?
Here, she just, do you know of any organizations like south of San Antonio in the rural areas?
Like where?
Frio County, Medina County, any of the
Where,
areas.
Kathy, is that your area?
Turner? Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. Any other questions? No, y'all. Don't even make y'all get wave again, wake up. Call my teams back up here. Guys, have y'all seen any of our therapy dogs out helping people? Have you seen how people responded? You'll get someone, and I get stories about this all the time, that they'll have a resident or a patient that just kind of recluses in, does not talk to anybody, does not want to interact. We bring a dog in there, and it's not us, okay? We're part of the dog team. We're the chauffeur. We drive them there. It's a dog that does all the work, right? And you will see, once they start interacting with the dog, they come alive. They smile. You'll see the glitter in their eyes. They light up. And guess what? The next time we come, get all excited again because they want to see a dog again. And it really helps them. Yes, ma'am.
What is the criteria for becoming what you do?
To be what we are? Okay, let me take a little bit real quick. One, you have to be dedicated like we are. You want to give back. You have to have a good heart. Everybody here looks like they got a good heart. We're all still sitting up in our right positions. So we're good there. As far as the dog, you have to have a dog with a great demeanor, one that is calm. You have to have one that wants to go up and meet people. And you have to have one that's obedience trained. And to be able to do that, come to the classes. A dog cannot be certified as a working therapy dog until they're at least a year old. Right? And we have people that contact me like, well, I've got a, golden retriever, 14 years old. Can I come through? A 14-year-old retriever should be at home on the couch enjoying their retirement life. It takes a lot out of them. I will tell you, my teams, once they get going, first time they go out, they're really enthused. They're like, I want to go, I want to go, I want to go. They want to take the dogs out every day. I tell them, no. You go on one visit twice a month to get started. I tell them why. I said, because you walk in with that dog, the dog's going into a strange place. It's got 50 million people all of a sudden coming up to it, putting hands on it. I told them, I said, you're going to visit for about 30 minutes. And then you're going to go home and your dog's going to go find a place to crash. And it's going to take a long nap. And they all look at me like, no, not my dog. My dog never slows down. They go do a visit. They go home. The dog goes and hides and crashes. They call me up. I can't believe my dog did. Went home and crashed it. Yeah. It takes a lot out of them. These dogs give unconditional love, and it takes a lot out of them. So that's basically what it takes. You have to have a very good, stable dog that's going to mind when you're in the dog going to be one. You got to be a team, and then you got to be dedicated to want to go out and do this. And you have to recertify, retest every year with us. But that's what, or I'm sure reach one of the top elite groups. Yes, ma'am.
How many visits does each
Team make?
dog make?
Okay, how many visits each team make? We have a requirement that they have to make a minimum of at least 2 visits a month. I will tell you, there's very few of our teams that only make 2 a month. There's some of us that are going several times a week. It's like an addiction. It's awesome. It's like, I gotta go out and visit. I gotta go see people. And we start doing it over and over again. And that's one of our biggest things is with our new teams, is we gotta tell them to slow down. You don't want to burn out the dog. Because that's a lot of pressure and stress on the dog. So, but we have at least a minimum of 2 visits a month. And like I said, a lot of us, we have like every year, we give out an award for people who go over like 100 hours. And I have to say it's pretty awesome. We're almost about half of our group every year puts in over 100 hours volunteer time. It did not work. We've got one that's already up to about 400 hours. So it's pretty good. All right, any other questions? No? How many of y'all like to have a therapy dog so we can see y'all? Oh, I would.
They call
Guys,
it
thank y'all very much.
the
If you
hill
want to know anything else
country.
about this,
I
check us out.
call it
All right,
beautiful.
thank you.
I call it progress. If it could be saved, they call